I've had people say on numerous occasions that they didn't understand my videos, and I don't know what to tell them because they don't say how or why they don't understand or what they don't understand. But I've been through a similar process myself recently with this stroller. I found it abandoned on a bike pathway, and it was in a half folded position, so the top part was down here, but it was folded down to there, but this part wasn't folded up to meet it. And it seemed like the owners gave up on it in disgust. I tried emailing and phoning the manufacturer, and I got diagrams and talked to a couple people over the phone, and I eventually looked up some forum questions because some people have trouble with this thing, and none of it worked for me. So I was in a position, I guess, like some of you are when you watch my videos. But after a few months I tried again, and I finally got it. So I guess the question is, you have to be persistent and maybe reapproach something after a little time has passed, and then maybe you might get the answer. And you have to approach it, I guess, without any preconceived notions. Don't assume that just because the manufacturer says that all you do is pull on this belt, that the thing will fold up on its own. That doesn't necessarily mean it's true. And I found out that most of the problems lie with this thing is I think a safety release, according to some people, and it has to be up. And the thing is that when you pull on this belt here, you do get some action. One of these levers over here moves like that, but when you pull on the belt, only one of them moves. The other one here stays stuck because this thing is in the wrong position. It has to be lifted up like this before the other lever can move into the proper position. Which I'm having trouble doing. It's pretty sticky, and you have to keep pushing and persisting at times past the point where it feels like it's safe a little bit, almost like it sounds like the thing's going to break. So I don't know if I can do it in this position. I found sometimes that I have to essentially work the whole thing with one hand. So I'll get this one in position over here. Oh. Push this up, that there, pull on both of them if I can. There we go. And then it snaps down. Once you get that in position, and this thing locks in place, and you can snap the whole business together like that. Unlocking is relatively easy, but you have to loosen this clamp here before that'll happen, and then pull on everything at once. And so once you start, continue with the process. Oops, that didn't quite work because this thing got in the way. There. So now I've gotten it back to its position like you'd see it on the street when it's upright. It's missing its tray and the baby holder. It's like a 3-piece Peacock Blue system, it's called, by Cosco, with a strange serial number after it. So that's how I managed that. I hope that'll give you an example that I have to go through a similar process with some things. It's a physical example, I guess. In my videos I'm working with ideas rather than physical objects, so they're harder for people to visualize, and it's more work to do. I think a lot of the reason sometimes why people don't understand my videos is that I'm trying to tell people things they haven't heard before. So when you hear something for the first time, it's not a repetition, it's more work. You have to keep sometimes learning by repetition. Also, some of the things that I argue against are like social scrap heaps rather than social constructs. They weren't really, unlike this object, designed to serve a specific function for the benefit of most people. I think they're designed to keep people confused and in the dark, and they can be extremely complex, internal, contradictory, Gordian knots that take a lot of unraveling and that take a fair bit of work and require you to suspend your disbelief as to how big a lie can be. So maybe that's why there's so much work for some people to understand my videos. But I hope gave you some examples of what it's like to work through one of these things. It took me a long time, not too much in thinking time, but in passage of time, just looking at it some days and then giving up and going back to it on other days and trying to understand it again before I finally got through this apparently relatively simple process where the answer looks obvious after the fact. But I think in a couple of cases, if somebody had just said, work on the red thing and it has to be up, so both levers come up at the same time, that would have been relatively easy for me to understand. But one of the answers on the online forum said the safety release, and it wasn't labeled as a safety release, so that made it a little tougher for me. Okay, hope that helps a little bit.